Let's talk about how to calculate a subnet address given one IP address and a mask. And this is to calculate when you have multiple devices in one network and you want to assign different addresses to the devices. And there are calculators that you can just use online, but I think it's also important to know how it works. So let's take this for example of this IP address and mask. And normally we have two ways of doing it. One is using decimal, like human readable way. So the first step would be to start from the mask that has 224, and we are gonna use 255 to deduct it from 255. That gives 32 devices in this network. And then we're gonna try to get groups of 32 devices within this range. So for the first one, we start from 0 and until 31, that's 32 devices. Next goes to 32, 64, and the same thing, so on and so forth until this part where we have 192 until 223. This part is important because our address is 195, so it falls within this range. And if we want to get the first device, the address would be 192 plus 1, because remember the first address is the network address, so we're going to use this one as the final address. And another way of doing it is the binary one, which I think is somehow easier to understand or calculate. So we have 8 bits, and from the right side, every bit has 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. You already know this. And now we have this IP address and the mask. Sometimes it has this /27 besides the mask address. This just means how many ones are there in the binary. So we can calculate, for example, the first one, 192. If you actually add up 128 and 64, that's exactly 192. So this is the first binary number. That would be 1, and the rest would be just 0. So same thing, you can calculate the rest of the addresses. And then we're gonna do the calculation. The rule is if you see this once in the submask, then all the ones that above stay the same. So we have this one, but because you have 27 of ones here, so that left with like 5 zeros. So for this 5 ones are kind of dynamic, it's not determined, it's a range. And when you saw if there's 0 here, then you flip the whole thing to like zeros. That makes the first usable, actually the first address, because remember what we said before, the first one is not usable. So this one gives 192, but we have to add 1, which is the first usable, 193. And I hope this is helpful. If so, please give a thumb up or leave a comment down below, and see you next time.